Thanks, Mike. Um, so first, I'm going to attempt to get through this without getting emotional. I don't know if that'll happen. I've been up and down for the last few days for sure. But I want to start off by saying thank you to a bunch of people. I know I won't get to everybody. This is a very strange way and a very 2020 way to connect with people that you love and have spent so much time with over the last few years. To do this over a Zoom, and I can only sit here and look at myself. It's kind of sad, but it's where things are. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Larry Tannenbaum and the board and MLSE for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the organization. Larry, who I just spoke to, he is inspirational in every single way. I think he's the heart and soul of the organization. Just from the day I arrived, the way he has made our family feel welcome and has made us feel important and has taken care of us. I think is just the symbol of what this franchise is all about. And so I will never, forget him. And I think they are amongst the greatest, as I said in the press release, the best amongst the best owners and ownership group in all of sports. So thank you to all of them. Looking back on the early days, just a thank you goes out to Tim Lewicki and Tim Bezbachenko, who are two guys who took a chance on this academy director who had never coached a professional game and handed the keys to what was a Ferrari in development. There was a big mission to take this club to the top, and a lot of money spent to build a team that could win championships and could compete on a high level. And they entrusted me with that responsibility and from the very beginning. And so I want to say thank you to them and relationships that I have built with them over the years. So thank you to them. Next is Bill, who I've gotten to know deeply through this process in the last few years. His support and leadership guidance, our ability to just sit down and chat and talk about things and push this team forward has meant a lot to me. So I want to say thank you to him and Ali, who we haven't had a lot of time together, but I knew Ali before TFC a little bit, and I got to know him a lot. And this experience, I mean, we've had many conversations, shared a lot of things about life and about sport, and most importantly, he's excellent at what he does. But most importantly, he's a friend, and so I just want to say thank you to him. Next, I just want to shout out to my staff, and I don't even call them my staff, but they're my friends and the guys that I went to work with every day and battled with, and Dan and Nick, JB, John, Robin, who isn't a part of our group anymore, but he's for sure a part of our circle. Mike Munoz, who joined us this year, Jim Liston. I know I'm gonna miss names. Mike Rabaska, all of you guys. I love you guys, and this has been. It's more about not so much what's been accomplished, but it's about how we went about it. We had so much fun. Thank you guys for that. I know I'm not going to get to everybody, and I will group this up in a second. But thank you to Ted, who is really the heart and soul of keeping this thing running at TFC and taking care of our guys, and everybody who supports him. The rest of the operations group, thank you. The media team, Jeff, Mike, Alejandra, you guys are amazing. And I've gotten to have a great appreciation for those of you who have covered this team, the whole time I've been here. And I've made friendships with some of you. And I have a hell of a lot of respect for the fact that you guys keep this team relevant and you put them in the news and you tell the story of this team on a daily basis, better than anywhere else in the league. So I appreciate everyone on the media side of things as well. just jumping quickly to Anthony Capitosto, and the whole academy staff, like the amount of time that we spent collaborating and talking together and trying to work on development and putting things in place for the academy and the club, and how these guys, the job that they do on a daily basis and how they've run with it, I think they're amazing. They're the lifeblood of TFC, and the future is with them, and it's a bright future. You saw some of that this year with some of the young players who are coming along, and over the years, these guys have got it wired tight now, and they're going to be amazing, and continuing to push young players through this system, because there's a great market in Toronto and in Ontario for talent. And that was one of the things when I arrived that I was most amazed with, is just the sheer amount of talent in the area, and the work that's being done in the community, and the work that is being done out there. I'm honored to be a part of it, and to help in any way that I could, but to work with everybody that's not just in our club, but outside of our club, to try to bring the sport forward in Toronto and Canada. The juniors guys, you guys know how I feel about you. I think you're where it all begins, and keep up the hard work. These are some of the hardest working guys that I know, and they know how I feel about them. So I think what they do is amazing, and thank you for everything that you guys have done for my kids too. So almost there. Elaine, Ravi, and Bobby, and Vince, who was there before. These guys make it run. These are what brings everybody together. They take care of us. They take care of our families. These guys were making meals for our families when we were in Hartford, so that we could be taken care of. And kudos goes to Bill and to everyone in operations, because this club has an incredible way of taking care of its people. So thank you to them. I will miss them. And the one thing I would say, as I kind of close up, and all the medical guys, cello staff, I know Sasha, all you guys that were downstairs and helped us make, I know I'm going to forget names, but I'm trying to reach out to everybody individually. So I haven't taken a lot of time to form a formal sort of goodbye here. I just want to make sure that everybody, if I miss anybody, that that I love you and thank you. Lastly, the one thing that'll be written about TFC, and everybody will have their way of shaping this little era here that is my time here, and all the people who have been with me here, is going to be about results and all those things. But truly, from my perspective, the gold that is Toronto FC is just, it's the people. It's the relationships. It's how everybody looks out for each other. They take care of each other. The humility, the willingness to work together, to agree and push towards a common end, and just to put everything behind and look at the club as the most important thing, and how it moves forward. And the last group of people that I have to get to is obviously the players. Every player that's gone through this, but specifically those of you I've been with from day one. I was a young coach, wet behind the ears, thought he had a lot of ideas coming in, and just the patience that these guys had with me, the amount of learning that I took off of them. I hope I provided some learning back for all of them, but the experiences we've had together as a crew. Have been nothing short of amazing, and I'm trying to reach out to each of them individually. They know how I feel about them, so thank you guys. Obviously, this was a difficult decision, one that I've processed for an entire year, an entire difficult year, and just come to a conclusion at the end that it's the right time for myself, my family, to move forward and take a different step. I believe soccer is, and this profession it's about a journey, and in this journey we have different experiences. We try to learn in every step and every relationship along the way. And I've taken every ounce of what I can from this experience, and I think it's time for myself and my family to move on and take our lessons here, and at the right time try to apply them somewhere else, and have a whole new set of things to learn, and just keep growing as a person, as a player. For anyone who followed it all, my playing career was, I was 6 years with the Galaxy, and then at that point, I made a move after those 6 years to try to grow again as a person, as a player, and through those experiences, I am who I am today. So that's kind of the same reason I am where I am today, is in realizing that it's time to make that step. So thank you to all of you. I'm sure I forgot some people. If I did, trust that I'm trying to reach out to everyone individually. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. We will get started here with questions. Reminder to please click the raise hand, and we'll get to you. We will start things as always with Neil Davidson.
Thanks, Mike. Greg, if I may, before I ask my question, I'd like to speak on behalf of my colleagues, though I know they will have their own eloquent words to say. I just wanted to thank you for your courtesy and kindness in the way you've treated us since you took over as coach. You're a gentleman and a class act, and it's been a privilege and a pleasure to cover you. And just know that wherever your next adventure takes you, you have a lot of people in Toronto rooting for you.
Thank you, Neil. You're one of those guys I consider a friend, and over the years you've advised me, you've given me books, you've shown that you care about not just our team but myself and my family. So thank you. I'll probably be in touch, and thank you for your support and just the thoughtful questions along the way. I always appreciate talking to you. So thank you.
This has been a very difficult year. I wondered, do you think you would have made this decision if it had been a normal year? I'm wondering if you've spoken very highly of the club. Were there any issues that you had going into the future? And also, do you think you'll take some time off, or will you get into another soccer adventure?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, the last 3 years have taken a lot of energy and emotion and all that. Starting in 2018, post our incredible run through Champions League, and having the second half of the season we had in 2018, and trying to keep our head above water, and all of the things that went into that season. That's well documented. The beginning of 2019 and the middle of 2019, trying to still build off of the struggles of 2018, were just a lot of things going on. And then to hit this season with a with a pandemic and be away from family and the struggles, this year was more about mental health than it was about soccer in many ways for all of us who were involved, and we still found a way to excel. So I can't really answer if it would have been different, just because it was what it was, and we are where we are because of it. When this contract was coming to an end, I was always, and especially as the year grew on, I was always kind of wondering if this was going to be, and thinking, is this going to be the last year? Talking with my family and things that are just going on the family side, and where we're at, where my kids are at with, and also just, I'm a lifelong learner, and somebody who is trying to continue to improve and get better in the sport, and trying to, put all of that together, and what does, another longer term contract sort of play out in that way. And, it's a struggle, because there's so many people here that I love, that I feel torn about making a decision. I feel selfish in some ways about making a decision, but to leave. But I think in terms of growth and taking next steps, and also taking care of our family, it's just the right decision. And I feel that way now. I hope I feel that way as time progresses. Haven't thought a ton about what's next yet. I just want to connect with my family a little bit because we've been apart and figure it out. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Steve Buffrey.
Yeah, Greg, I'm not very eloquent, but you are a really good guy.
Cut
And,
yourself short, Steve. You got it.
but you're one of the best coaches I've dealt with in 35 years at my place. So good luck in the future. You mentioned your family in the season. Does the fact that we kept hearing all year that you guys were kind of talking about a new contract, did that have anything to do with your decision to move on? That a deal just couldn't get done, or was it more just like you said, a personal family decision?
No, in the end, it's a personal family decision. We haven't talked money, years, or anything since July. Like all of that, it was never ever going to be about any of that for me, for the club. The club is always, for me, it was really just again trying to reconcile where our family is at, along with what I felt was the right thing. Just for me, again, growing as a young coach, and the club has done nothing but try to get this done and try to make the best situation and circumstances for me. I think that again at this point it's just I think I need to encounter. Part of me is I'm a builder. I like to build things and I like projects and I like big things. And this club is in a really, really good place. There's not a lot of building to do. There is, it is an incredible club that is, positioned from where we started to where we are to be great. And so I think in some of the learning and all of that is in building and making mistakes and trying new things. And so that's part of it for me is, where does it go and how do I continue to develop here but also and most importantly is just kind of there's family inside of these decisions and personal things inside of these decisions that weigh into that. And as the year got on, I just started to gain a little bit more clarity, especially down the stretch when I came home and started talking to my family more and with my kids and I realized at that point that what the next step was going to be. And the club has been in Bill and Ali, and they've been incredibly patient while I worked through this entire process. And it got to where we are now. So.
Christian Jack.
Hi, Greg. Good morning. And thanks so much for your time today and for your time throughout this tenure. It's been a pleasure. I'll reach out to you personally as well and have a chat with you another time. But I wanted to ask you, it's clear about how much you love the club. For those that are being critical of the club today, and there are some particularly the fans that allowed you, who got to 4 major finals in 4 years, to go to run your contract down, is it fair to say that if the contract wasn't coming to an end, that this would have been maybe the right time for you to leave at this moment anyway?
I don't know. I think the circumstances are all part of it. I think, you can't ever say one thing was this way or that way. It all just kind of is what it is. And the pandemic is a part of that and everything is. So I think there's still a lot for this club to accomplish. I think with the players, there's still a lot of desire and hunger to be successful. I think it's all there. I mean, I take a look at where the club is left at the moment, and when they start next year, they're going to be playing for a championship to kick off the season, probably, because we weren't able to get the Canadian championships here this year, which then leads into the possibility of a bid in Champions League and another run there, hopefully, if they can get the job done. So it's in a wonderful position for whomever is next to try to step in and be successful right off the bat and run with it. And so all the circumstances they're all a part of it, and they are what they are. And we are where we are. And so I don't know if I'm doing a great job of answering that question, but my objective when I arrived here, and I used to talk about this with everybody, was to leave the club in a better place than I picked it up. And if I did that, then there is some success in that. And along the way, we had a lot of incredible memories, and we did a lot of incredible things. And I think the club is destined to keep doing that. So I think, it's time for somebody else to take that.
Mike Leach.
Thanks, Mike. Greg, I'd like to thank you for being a man of class and dignity and treating us that way. There are very few coaches in this town in professional sports who would give to the media the way that you've given to the media. So I'd like to thank you. You will be missed around here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It sounds like the decision was weighing on your mind for some time. When was the exact moment that you and your family made the decision to move, to make this move? And would anything have changed had you been able to, say, get back to MLS Cup final, potentially win it? Would that maybe have changed your mind at all?
So to answer your first question, the decision was ultimately made as the season concluded. And like I said, I came back and sat down. There's so few days that as a family we've been together over the last 4 or 5 months. And these are big things. I come home, I'd be quarantined for 2 days. I came home, we had a little stretch of 14 days, of which, quite honestly, I just wanted to focus on trying to get our team prepared for the playoffs. I felt like down the stretch, we had lost a little bit of our rhythm, and so all of my energy was trying to get our rhythm back and our connections. And so I wasn't putting a ton of personal energy into the contract side of things, because I have felt like we had a good team and I wanted us to get a run, but I also felt like we weren't in the greatest of form down the stretch. And so that's where I was focusing. But once the season ended and I was able to come home, sit together with my family and the kids, that's when we really talked it out and made a decision. In terms of weighing on me, I can't say it was there. It was there. It was behind. I was behind sort of the scenes, but I was very much. We were having a good season. I didn't want anything to be a distraction on that. There was a lot of talk about it being close, which I think led to, in some ways, less questions about it. And there was nothing more to do other than for me to make a decision. So if we would have won the championship, would it change anything? I doubt it, but I can't honestly say, just because we didn't and we were where we were. But we have a great group of players. We have a great group of men who, in an extremely difficult year, were incredible. And I can't even state enough how challenging the year was for our guys. And they are just a great group of guys that got on with it and played and gave everything they could. And in the end, through emotions and injuries and different things, we just didn't have enough at the stretch. But I don't think anything necessarily changes, but I don't know, because it ended how it ended. Like, the circumstances are what they are, but I don't think too much would have been different.
Josh Cloak.
Thanks, Mike. Greg said it before, just wanted to say it again, thank you, just for your kind of help and guidance with me as I try and become a coach. And I appreciate kind of, the tips and just the time that you took for me. It won't be forgotten. I'm curious, you talked about how you were wet between the ears, or behind the ears, excuse me, when you got here. How do you think you've changed as a person in your time at TFC?
I don't know that I'd say I changed as much as a person. I think I grew as a person, and I learned a lot of things and management. And the one thing that I understand is that first and foremost, I work with people, right? Even the players, they're people first and foremost, and connecting with them especially in this day and age, and getting to know your people and understanding what makes them tick and caring about them is the first step in getting the most out of anyone. And so every one of the relationships that I have with our guys is genuine, and that's the same with every encounter I have with you guys or anyone. Is I try to take the most out of every relationship and every conversation. And I think that was, that's a part of the person side that I think was how I grew through this, which was, getting to understand our guys and what makes them tick, and learning more about them. That takes time. A lot of people don't just tell you everything that is important to them right off the bat. You have to show that you care, and you have to get to know them, and walls start to come down, and you start to really get to understand people. And once you do, you understand how to work with them as players. You understand how to motivate them as competitors, and I think that's where it starts. And so, on the personal side, that's where I'd say. On the coaching side, I think, I learned a lot through the experiences, through everything. I'm a lifelong student of the game, and I'm an overanalyzer in some respects, whether that is looking at other things that are happening around the globe and the way other coaches are playing, thinking about our teams and the tendencies of every one of our players and how those puzzle pieces are going to fit together within the vision and style of how we want to play and entertain our fans, and all that, and trying to put all of those pieces together, because with no one piece is what helps you be successful. It's really how the interaction of all of those pieces fit together that ultimately brings success, and they bring harmony, and they bring a group together, and that then translates into execution on the field. And we found that rhythm, and we found that sweet spot a number of times as a group. Sometimes we had to struggle and work through challenges, of course, as every team does, but many a times down the stretch, we found sort of that harmony and rhythm that really worked. That has to do with the relationships off the field, but also the performances on the field. And I was remiss and should not have been, because I have some notes here. So I want to separate a sec and go back to my original monologue, and I really have to say, share my feelings on the fans in Toronto, and I'm really, really sorry I didn't say this at the beginning. I knew it was going to come, and maybe it was the conclusion for me, but I've played in a lot of places, and I haven't coached in many places, but I have coached games in many places. The fans of Toronto have a unique understanding and passion for the game as it relates to any club in this league. The environments that they have created on the biggest nights in Toronto, and the emotions, I think, I've said to the guys, they'll always remember how that you make them feel, was something we always talked about. The emotions that we've shared together with the fans over the years will forever be cherished. So, yeah.
We'll go to Laura Armstrong.
Thank you. Yep.
Geez, Greg, way to make us all teary. Personally, I just want to say thank you for always welcoming me back in Toronto at Toronto FC when I wasn't around necessarily, because I always felt like I was getting back to my roots, and I genuinely appreciate your openness to me throughout the years.
Miss you this year. Haven't heard from you much, but good to see you again.
My question to you, coaching is such a volatile business to be in. You have been, the hashtag Vanney out. You've seen it over the course of the years. But what does it mean to you to be able to sort of leave this club, on your own decision, to be making this choice to step away?
Yeah, so I guess this day will be a happy day for some people, right? What's funny, and I didn't know if I would tell the story or not, but might as well, since it's the way you led the question. The first game that I walked out for Toronto FC as the coach, I remember implicitly a fan behind me, who I'm sure now is a friend, because I've interacted with most of those guys, and at some point they yelled out, "Hey, Vanney, I hope you're renting." And so that was I think the first voice I heard in my stretch as a coach at TFC, and I remember thinking, I am renting, but I'm going to be renting for a long time. So I think that was a thought that went through my head in that moment. So honestly, don't quite remember the question, Laura, but can you repeat the last part of the question, because I caught the first part, which made me think of the story, and then I've kind of lost track of my thought.
Go ahead, Laura. You can.
Jump back in, Laura, for a sec, please.
Sorry, it was a great story, Greg. I appreciate it. Just being able to leave on your own volition.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm proud of that, because I think, you know, that shows some sustained success, and it shows, you know, especially with the history of this team before, that we've been able to accomplish some things. And for me, it's a good thing. I want this little era to end on some level on a positive. And I know we didn't finish the season the way we wanted to, but on some sort of a positive. I you know, usually coaches end by getting fired, and that's the end of that era, and it's over. And I by no means am doing this because of that, but I am proud of the fact that I have made this run, and I felt like it's just time for me to and my family to move on, and yeah. So in some ways, I'm proud of being at this point, but I'm sad at being at this point too. So that's just, you know, that's, I think, the natural emotions and just how the last few days have been for me.
Jeff Carlisle.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking the time. I wanted to piggyback on an earlier question and a comment you made. You said it was as much about mental health as it was about the soccer. You know, do you anticipate taking a break from the game for a while, or, you know, do you think you're going to dive back in? And, you know, do you have any thoughts on your immediate plans?
Well, my immediate plans are to regroup and, like I said, connect again, give my kids some time that I missed, that being away for the season. You know, I do need to catch my breath. I do need to regroup a bit, but anyone who knows me knows I don't sit still very well, so it won't be a long thing. But at the same time, I do know that this has been an exhausting year, emotionally. So I don't have an immediate plan other than to regroup, to spend some time with the family, and figure out what's next. But I do know part of that is catching my breath, and also, you know, many people know too about me is I don't slow down much to look back and to take things in, and I do want to spend a little bit of time now that this has come to some form of a conclusion to really take in the whole experience that has been the last 7 years here, and the countless hours and experiences with people and relationships. And I do want to, you know, I have, which is part of the emotion for me, is that I just plow forward so fast that I sometimes don't stop and take things in. And then I have, over the last few days, really started to take things in, and that's where the emotion comes from. And so I need to do that for a little bit, and then I'll figure out with my family what is next.
James Grossi.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, Greg. I do have some TFC2 questions, but I suppose I'll save those for another day. Your generosity and patience were always appreciated on that front. You know, we've talked a lot about the trophies, the big games, the near misses, all that sort of stuff over the years, but I'm wondering if there's, you know, perhaps a smaller, more personal moment that you sort of hold close to your heart.
I'm sure there are. I don't even know if I could pick one and be fair to any one of the 100 of those moments. Yeah, I can't come up with one right off the bat, but and like I said, I think I would be unfair to probably another many other moments if I selected one, but from a sentimental standpoint, I'll pick one that is the second goal of the MLS Cup winning game when Victor tapped it in. There was a brief moment there in 2017 when my mom passed away, and all of the energy and work that had been put into trying to bring the team and the club forward, and all the championships lost and everything that had happened before that. It was just the moment to reflect on her and her passing, and that moment was probably the one I will remember the most.
Michael Singh.
Hey, Greg.
Michael?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of hit the nail on the head there, and echoing the same sentiment that I'm sort of echoing here. And just thank you for helping me out personally. Just, my first year on the beat, you really helped me out, and you opened, you're very selfless with me with your answers, and you took the time to really, take it and care about what I was saying. So just thank you for helping me as a young journalist. I sort of forgot my question there, but
I know how that works, so thank you.
What was it that I wanted to ask? You know what? I'll come back to me for now. Sorry about that.
We'll go to Mike Leach.
Mike, you just unmuted me, but I'm not Mike Leach.
Sorry. Go Laura first and then Mike.
Okay. Greg, you've won a lot, obviously, and certainly that's going to be reflected in all of the writings today. But is there anything that you're going to leave Toronto FC thinking, oh, I wish I'd done that too?
Yeah, win the Champions League.
Yeah.
We were so close. One play or obviously a shootout, which never went our way here, and something that I will have to improve upon as a coach is how to win shootouts for sure. But yeah, winning Champions League, I think that's the one thing that we really didn't achieve. Other than that, we had won every other trophy that there was to win, and wanting to be the first MLS club to have done that in the modern era is the one thing that, from a soccer perspective, that I wish we would have accomplished. That's on the soccer side of things. That's the only thing.
Now we will go to Mike Leach.
My voice is a little bit deeper there. Greg, one of the things that I'll remember about you is the saying that you mentioned just a few minutes ago. They'll always remember the way you make them feel. The way people feel about this club is very different now than it was when you arrived. What does that mean to you?
That's the most important thing. I think, as players and coaches, our legacy is about winning championships and doing all of that stuff, and obviously along the way the relationships that we build. But the next most important thing or not even the next. The other important thing is just it's the fans, and it's the people who don't have the opportunity necessarily to be on that field, who live those experiences with all of us every single day. And it's about the journey with them to bring them the joy and emotion for all of the support and love that they give back to the players and the coaches to be able to do what we do, and to have that kind of support. It's our responsibility to try to bring that joy. But it's not always joy. It's the emotional roller coaster that is sports. You can't have joy if you don't have, the disappointment sometimes, and it's not the same. And so, now that the club had gone through so much of the struggle at the beginning, and the fan base and just trying to get it right, which is not uncommon for teams that are coming into a new league, and everything is quite new. But, we found our footing, and we turned that around, and after all of that, a disappointment, I thought at times we had to have brought the highest of highs and the greatest of emotions to the city and to our fans that they balance that out and they bring that trend, and then with that it brings new fans and it brings new energy into the stadium, and that really built, and it was sorely missed this year by ourselves, by all of us, the players, the coaches, everybody. We so incredibly missed playing in our stadium in front of our fans this year, and ultimately I think it was the difference a little bit down the stretch when we just needed that boost of energy and passion and excitement behind us. We didn't have it in a moment where we were fatigued and not on our best. That's when the fans changed the game, and we missed them this year, and we missed being in front of them. So I am, I'm, again, it's one of the things I'm proud of and happy is that there is a legacy of winning. There's an expectation of winning and winning championships and competing for the championships every year from our fan base, and the support is there, and that's a far different place than we were when we started.
We have time for a couple more. Christian Jack.
Thanks, Mike. And again, thanks, Greg, so much. I want to ask you about, I know you've coached a lot of players while you've been here, and the impact that you've had on all of them has been really, really important. I want to ask you about what it was like to coach the likes of Michael Bradley, Josie Altidore, Victor Vasquez, Sebastian Javinko, Alejandro Pozuelo, the real stars of this team. And they have all spoken, they will and continue to speak about how you made them better. How did they make you better as a coach? And what was that relationship like with you as you spent that time with those players here?
Yeah, and I'm going to put them in the same group of all the players, but I will speak specifically just that. And when again, as a young manager coming in with players of such high pedigree, they helped me to establish a mentality where I felt pressure for every single training session to be important, to be purposeful, to meet sort of the expectations of those guys, but also every single player. And no decision I made, and whether that be within the club, or no decision I made within our team, or no training session, or no word in many situations was a throwaway or a giveaway. Everything mattered, and players expected that from me, and so as myself, my staff, we created training sessions or tactics or anything. I felt like there had to always be a standard, and some of that is personal, but some of that is also the desire and the need to want to match those expectations of the players, and so that's a big part of it, and through that is the different collaborations, and I've said to all these guys, and I'll say it to everybody, I don't know everything about the game. I don't even come close to that. And but through listening to our players and the experiences that they have each brought from different places that they've been, but also what they're experiencing on the field, if as a coach, being willing to listen to that and adapt as necessary when you feel like it's the right thing, and is a big part of how you learn and grow as a coach, but also how you connect with your guys. And so those guys, along with all of the other guys, have been a part of that experience, and for me.
We have time for 4 more. It would be Neil, Josh Cloak, Tom Bogert, and then Laura. So Neil.
Thanks, Mike. Greg, if I can trouble you to look ahead a little bit at TFC. You're leaving a team with a veteran core, but also a pretty exciting group of youngsters. You've blooded a lot of those this year. Do you feel next year is a time when these young men can really take a much bigger role with the club?
So that for me, that was a big goal of this year. So I mean, obviously it was a very strange year, COVID, stop, start, all of that going on. For me, I had a couple different objectives that I set forth in a really difficult year, and one of those is always to win championships. But the second was really to start to bring on some of these younger players who are showing so much promise and have so much ability through the club, and to to start to allow them to build their professional careers, because in Toronto it's not just about playing as a young player. That's only one very small part about it. It's the expectation to win, regardless of whether you're young or old or anything. There's an expectation to win. And so I wanted, this year for those young guys to grow with our team, to start to blossom, with their talent, but also to understand the responsibility that comes with being a TFC player, which is you got to get results. And it's not about you. It's about the W's and the wins and what you provide to the team and what happens at the end of the day in terms of winning trophies and lifting things. And so, I think our young players really, really, as difficult as this year was for all of us, and especially the veteran guys and those that had families, this year was, while our young players didn't all play a ton, they were in like a professional residency as a 16, 18, I'm thinking of the ages of some of our guys, 18-year-old, 16-year-old, some 20-year-olds. These guys were in a professional residency with grown men who've won championships and spent every day and many hours and meals with those guys. And what a learning environment for those young players. And so while it was difficult in many ways, I think that was one of the underlying benefits of everything that went on is these guys are growing up and they're ready. They have to keep working and they have to keep proving themselves because, again, the expectation is to win championships. And so there's talent there for sure. I think they're gaining the understanding of what it means to play here. I think their time is coming and is upon them, and they need to become contributors. They're not just young players that are blossoming, but also contributors to the day-to-day and to the results. And these guys have learned a lot about that this year.
Josh Cloak.
Greg, you mentioned that you're a builder and you want to build something new. If inevitably you do go to a new club, is there something specific you want to try or something specific you want to do that maybe you didn't get a chance to do that really excites you about kind of your next opportunity?
No, I think, in my experiences so far, this is my only professional experiences, but in other experiences I've had before, and when we got the RSL Academy started out of scratch in Casa Grande, Arizona, was there was nothing there, and it just became a vision and building and learning and doing that, and that's the same with many of other projects that I've done. But I think the key to all of it is wherever it ends up being is to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of that specific project and what you're trying to achieve. And my goal and objective in anything that I'm a part of is to try to make it the best and try to push forward the level of the game, the club in North America. I still think we're very much in a growth phase in MLS in North America. And if it's here, then it's how can I do my part to influence the game and try to help the game to move forward. And I'm just one of many, many coaches and people who are trying to do the same thing. And so I don't have any one specific thing that it is that I want to achieve. I just, I just want to try to duplicate some of the stuff that we've done here. I mean, we achieved that in some ways where we set a new standard for the league, and then you see other teams coming on and pushing that standard too. So it's to try to get back wherever that is with the opportunity to try to continue to push the standard and as best that we can. And when the best clubs do that, they make everybody else around them better. And so that's always the objective. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what club or what city or what country. It's always the same. So
Tom Bogert.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for doing this and congrats on all the success. I know this is going to be a difficult one to try to put into words, but are you able to kind of say, what Toronto FC means to you?
Wow. You're right about, trying to encapsulate that in something small. I mean, I've obviously expressed that in emotion. It's in the relationships. I mean, it's a place that I'll never forget this journey. Obviously, there's so many people who have, meant something to me or influenced me, and all of them most of them, I won't say all of them because there are people outside of the club, but most of them have been in Toronto FC. So like I said, much will be written about the successes and their failures, or championships lost, championships won, and all that. But what has meant most to me about the club is really the people I've met, the relationships, and the experiences that we've had together. And that's what it means to me. That's what you'll never forget, you know. And inside of that is the successes. You know, the game is a process, and you only win because you do a lot of things right. And within that, a lot of things is that you get your relationships right and everybody on the same page and things working. And so for me, it will always be near and dear to my heart, you know, first and foremost because of the people that I've encountered and met, and the relationships that I've developed.
Okay, looks like all the questions. Greg, thank you as always for your time. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and we will be in touch.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.